Moose Creek was just a small neighborhood, not too far from the Air Force Base, and for many families it was kind of a holding place where they lived until housing became available on the air base. So we were in Moose Creek for 1 year during my second grade year, and during the summer after that we moved on to the base. Our address was 5140 Arctic Street. It was an apartment inside of a building of 8 apartments, and the apartments were clustered together in groups of 3 that formed a horseshoe, and ours was the back end of the horseshoe, and that area out in the middle there was where the cars would be parked, and also in the front where the road was would be the bus stop for if you rode a bus to get around the base, and for those who rode school buses. Convenient location, actually. It wasn't too far from the movie theater, from where the swimming pool was. It was an indoor swimming pool, and Mama was letting me go to the Saturday matinee movie all the time, and then I took swimming lessons, and I basically just walked to the theater, and then I walked to the swimming pool, and we had a playground nearby that I spent a lot of time there. There were lots of kids in the neighborhood, so it was kind of a change of pace of things from what it was at Moose Creek. And then while we were on the air base, Mom and Dad signed me up to the Cub Scouts, and I was very active with that, and went to lots of PAC meetings, and we had lots of banquets and lots of outings, so it was kind of a fun time. But I absolutely hated my 3rd grade year. I started school at a place called Pennel Elementary School. Now, in retrospect, I'm sure that my teacher was just doing her job in the best way that she could. But I can remember during that time, I absolutely hated my teacher. Her name was Miss. She was not married. Miss Lenox. Miss Lenox was quite a fussy teacher, and I just didn't like her. She was constantly making fun of her students, and she started on me on the first day. I had already had a black eye that I got during that summer while squabbling with another boy on the playground. And on the very first day, she called me to the back of the room, and she says, "You want another black eye?" And I told her no, and then she told me to go sit down and turn around, stop talking, and do my work. But she was always doing intimidating things like that. She and I did not get along well at all that year. I absolutely despised her. And I even told my mom and dad that I didn't like her. Nevertheless, I was stuck with her. Well, I didn't do my work in her class most of the time, and when you didn't do your work in her class, she came up with a punishment sentence that you had to write 25 times for every assignment that you didn't do. The sentence went like this: "I shall have my work completed on time." I wrote lots of those, and I didn't really care because I just was not interested. You know, the one thing I wanted was out of that lady's class. I just did not want to be in her classroom anymore. One time, I remember she would be writing on the chalkboard, and what our job was to copy what she wrote down. Well, I was learning how to do cursive writing that year, and I didn't do too badly, but hell, I wasn't fast. Anyway, she would write on the board and fill up one half, and I'd write as fast as I could, and then she'd fill up the other half, and before I could get the other part finished, she would erase the whole damn thing, and I was never able to catch up with that. But anyway, she was always doing irritating things like that, and I just didn't like her at all. On the base, we walked to school, and then we stayed there until lunchtime, and then we walked home, ate lunch, and then we go back to school. But sometimes on the walk in both ways, I I got distracted, if you will, and I would play around on the way home and then again on the way to school. So it was not unusual that I'd be late for lunch and I'd be late for school. I got in trouble that year a bit for that. Not everything was bad at that school. We had a music teacher who would come to our class once a week, and I really enjoyed that. She'd play the piano sometimes, and we'd sing songs. I really enjoyed that a lot, and I enjoyed going to the gym for PE. We got to put on our tennis shoes and do whatever we were doing in the gym. That was fun too. And then we'd go back to Mrs. Lenox's class, which, like I said, I hated it. I looked up Pennel Elementary School a few years ago on the internet, and I found them listed, and I sent an email to one of the secretaries there and just asked some questions. How were things going? And I asked for a little update on things, and I got a very pleasant reply, and it's very nice. But anyway, if you by any chance had Miss Lenox at Pennel Elementary School, that would have been fall 1965, spring 1966. Drop me a line and just say hello and how you doing, what you doing in your life nowadays. By the way, let me throw in, just like at Moose Creek, at Pennel Elementary School, we got out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by that time during the winter it was pitch black dark outside and cold. I can't tell you, I remember it getting so damn cold. I mean, now we had a face mask on. We were dressed from neck to foot. I mean, we had our regular clothes, and then underneath that we had what we call long john underwear, thermal underwear, from neck all the way down to our ankles. And then we had gloves, and then gloves on top of those gloves, and scarves, and we had boots, and inside the boots we'd put bread bags on our feet to keep them from getting wet. And even with all of that, I remember the wind sometimes feeling so fierce it would just make tears come down my eyes and make my hands feel all numb. It got so cold. But anyway, I was glad when that year was over with. Talk to you later. Bye.